There's a strange reason some of the smartest people in the world often feel completely alone. Not because nobody understands them, but because they understand too much. Too much about people, too much about manipulation, too much about fake confidence, too much about themselves. And sometimes, high intelligence becomes less of a gift and more of a psychological burden. Have you ever met someone who could read a room in seconds but still struggled to connect emotionally? Someone brilliant yet exhausted by ordinary conversations. Because behind extremely high IQ minds, there's a hidden psychological world most people never see. And tonight, we're going inside it. In modern culture, high IQ is usually romanticized. Movies portray geniuses as powerful, untouchable, almost superhuman. But reality looks very different. Many individuals with extremely high IQs don't experience life as easier. In fact, many experience deeper anxiety, stronger overthinking, social isolation, emotional exhaustion, and a constant feeling of being psychologically disconnected from the world around them. Not because they think they're better than others, but because their minds rarely stop processing. While most people move through conversations emotionally, high IQ individuals often move through them analytically. They notice micro-expressions, tone shifts, hidden intentions, contradictions. Their brains become hyperactive pattern recognition machines, and over time, that changes the way they experience relationships, identity, trust, and even happiness itself. But here's the disturbing part. The higher the intelligence, the harder it sometimes becomes to feel mentally at peace. And psychology explains exactly why. There's a concept in social psychology called cognitive overstimulation. It happens when the brain continuously absorbs, analyzes, and interprets information at unusually high levels. Most people can emotionally let go of small things, but extremely intelligent individuals often cannot. A simple interaction becomes layered with meaning. A delayed text reply becomes, "Did I say something wrong? Are they losing interest? Was their tone different yesterday?" Not because they're insecure, but because their minds naturally explore multiple possibilities simultaneously. Their intelligence creates psychological depth, but also mental noise. And in cyberpsychology, researchers have noticed something fascinating. Highly analytical individuals often become digitally exhausted faster than average users. Why? Because social media overwhelms them with psychological signals. Every post feels performative, every selfie feels strategic, every viral trend feels socially engineered. They don't just consume online content, they unconsciously dissect it. And eventually, the digital world starts feeling emotionally artificial. Which leads to something unexpected. Many extremely intelligent people slowly withdraw online. Not because they lack confidence, but because excessive self-exposure begins to feel psychologically uncomfortable. Think about this for a second. What if silence online isn't insecurity? What if, sometimes, it's self-protection? One of the strongest psychological traits among highly intelligent individuals is a deep need for cognitive privacy. Most people share moments online to feel connected, but high IQ individuals often associate visibility with vulnerability. The more people know about you, the more psychological access they have to you. And intelligent minds understand this instinctively. That's why many avoid posting selfies or personal photos, not because they hate themselves, but because they dislike feeling psychologically observed. They know attention changes behavior. The moment people watch you, you begin performing. And many high IQ individuals crave authenticity more than attention. This becomes even stronger in today's social media culture, where validation is quantified. Likes, views, comments, followers. For some people, that feels rewarding. For others, it feels emotionally invasive, especially people who derive self-worth internally instead of socially. And that difference changes everything. Extremely high IQ often overlaps with certain personality patterns. Not always, but frequently enough that psychologists keep noticing the same trends. Introversion, intense self-awareness, overthinking, perfectionism, emotional sensitivity, existential thinking. And here's where people misunderstand them. Introversion does not mean social weakness. Many highly intelligent people are socially skilled. They simply become drained by shallow interaction. Small talk feels repetitive, predictable, emotionally empty. Their brains crave depth, meaningful conversations, complex ideas, emotional honesty. But modern social environments often reward the opposite. Fast content, fast reactions, fast personalities, which creates internal conflict, because intelligent individuals frequently feel pressure to simplify themselves socially, to appear more normal. And over time, that psychological masking becomes exhausting. Now here's the twist nobody talks about. High intelligence can actually increase social anxiety, because awareness increases consequence prediction. The smarter the mind, the more outcomes it can imagine. Embarrassment, rejection, misinterpretation, judgment. Their brains simulate social scenarios before they even happen, which means many intelligent individuals don't lack confidence. They simply overcalculate human interaction. And this creates something dangerous: mental paralysis. They rehearse conversations internally, rewrite messages multiple times, analyze facial expressions for hidden meaning, sometimes for hours. Meanwhile, less analytical people move freely through social situations because they simply think less about them. Ignorance can create confidence. Awareness can create hesitation. And that realization changes the entire way we define social confidence. Here's something strange. The people who appear the calmest online are not always the happiest. And the people who post the least are not always the least confident. Sometimes they just no longer need strangers to confirm their existence. Social media runs on attention psychology. Every platform is built around one powerful human need: validation. To be seen, liked, acknowledged, desired. And psychology shows that every notification triggers tiny dopamine responses inside the brain. That's why posting can become addictive. But highly intelligent individuals often become aware of this mechanism. And once they see it, they can't unsee it. They start questioning everything. Am I posting this because I genuinely want to, or because I want emotional reassurance? That level of self-awareness creates psychological conflict, especially when online culture rewards constant self-display. Many high IQ individuals begin feeling emotionally disconnected from performative social media behavior. Not morally superior, just psychologically exhausted. Because constantly managing a digital identity requires energy, and intelligent minds already spend enormous energy managing internal thoughts. Which explains why some brilliant people disappear online for weeks or months without explanation. They're not avoiding people, they're recovering mentally. Cyberpsychology studies how digital environments affect human emotion and behavior,
And one disturbing pattern keeps appearing. The internet rewards emotional extremes. Outrage spreads faster. Controversy spreads faster. Attractive people receive more attention. Simplified opinions outperform nuanced thinking.
Highly intelligent individuals notice these systems quickly, and many become emotionally disillusioned by them. Because they see how algorithms manipulate attention, how comparison destroys self-worth, how online identity becomes curated performance, and eventually, many stop participating emotionally. They scroll less, post less, disappear more. Not because they failed socially, but because their minds became overstimulated by artificial social environments. Now, here's the part people get wrong about IQ. High IQ does not automatically mean high emotional intelligence. Some brilliant individuals struggle emotionally, but others develop extraordinary emotional perception, and those people become terrifyingly observant. They notice emotional inconsistencies instantly. Fake kindness, forced confidence, hidden resentment, passive aggression. Things others miss completely, which is why many high IQ individuals become extremely selective with relationships, because once you see people clearly, it becomes difficult to tolerate emotional dishonesty. And this creates loneliness. Not physical loneliness, psychological loneliness. Being surrounded by people while feeling mentally disconnected from almost all of them. That feeling is more common among highly intelligent individuals than most people realize. Maybe the real tragedy of extreme intelligence is not thinking differently. It's realizing how rarely you feel truly understood. Ironically, many highly intelligent people fear judgment more deeply than others, not because they're weak, but because they understand social dynamics too well. They know how quickly people stereotype, misinterpret, project insecurities. So instead of expressing themselves freely, they self-edit constantly, especially online. A selfie becomes, what assumptions will people make? A personal post becomes, how will this change the way people perceive me? Their awareness creates emotional caution, and over time, that caution can slowly evolve into detachment, not from life, but from unnecessary visibility. One of the deepest psychological struggles high IQ individuals face is the conflict between authenticity and social acceptance. Because society rewards likability, but intelligent minds often value truth more than approval, and those two things frequently collide. Many intelligent people learn early that honesty can isolate them, so they adapt. They soften opinions, hide intensity, reduce emotional depth, until eventually they no longer feel fully seen by anyone. And this is where many develop emotional exhaustion, not from being themselves, but from constantly filtering themselves. Imagine spending your entire life feeling mentally out of sync with the world around you. Conversations feel shallow, social media feels artificial, relationships feel temporary, attention feels manipulative. And despite understanding people deeply, you still feel misunderstood yourself.
That contradiction lives inside many highly intelligent minds every single day. Because intelligence does not remove human needs. They still want connection, love, recognition, safety. But their awareness complicates all of it. And maybe that's why some of the smartest people appear emotionally distant, not because they don't care, but because they care too deeply about things most people never even notice. Extreme intelligence is often portrayed as power, but psychologically, it can also become hyper-awareness, and hyper-awareness changes everything. You notice patterns faster. You question motives deeper. You overthink harder. You trust slower. Sometimes your own mind becomes the loudest room you've ever lived in. And in a world obsessed with visibility, some intelligent individuals quietly choose privacy. In a culture addicted to validation, they search for authenticity. And in a digital environment designed for attention, they'd protect their peace instead. Maybe intelligence isn't about knowing more. Maybe it's about seeing too much. Too much performance, too much manipulation, too much emotional noise. And maybe that's why some of the most intelligent people in the world move silently. Not because they have nothing to say, but because they've learned not everything meaningful needs an audience. If this video made you stop and reflect, comment below with one thought you've never told anyone about social media or human behavior. Do you think highly intelligent people experience the world differently, or do they simply overthink it more? Share this video with someone who constantly disappears from social media without explanation. And if you enjoy deep psychological documentaries that reveal the hidden side of human behavior, subscribe now, because the next video might explain something about yourself you were never supposed to notice.